This is a story of a man whose tongue never slipped, a man who never lost an argument. His name was eBay. In the riverbend town of Ife, truth was treated like gold. People valued clear thinking, sharp memory, and clever speech. But above all, they valued winning. If you argued with eBay, you would lose. Not loudly, not dramatically. You would simply reach a point where your words no longer stood. Facts collapsed, examples failed, your voice thinned. eBay never raised his voice, never insulted. He just finished you. People walked away from him quiet, unsettled, slightly smaller than before. And eBay? eBay walked away untouched.
At first, the village praised him. Sharp mind, elders said. Strong head, traders nodded. Born wise, the youths whispered. But praise slowly changed shape. People stopped telling him stories, stopped sharing doubts, stopped speaking freely. They brought him problems, but not hearts. eBay noticed the quiet, but interpreted it as respect. Truth is lonely, he told himself. He didn't realize it was something else. One afternoon, a debate broke out at the market. Rainfall patterns, crop failure, blame. Voices rose, hands waved. Then eBay spoke. Calm, measured, precise. Within minutes, the argument ended. Not resolved. Ended. Men stared at the ground. Women gathered their baskets. Silence followed eBay like a shadow. As people dispersed, a child, no more than 10, stood in front of eBay. "Uncle," the boy asked, "do you ever listen?" The crowd froze. eBay frowned. "Of course." The boy tilted his head. "Before you answer or after?" The question landed without force, but it did not leave. That night, eBay lay awake. The child's question repeated itself like dripping water. Do you listen or do you wait? For the first time, his certainty felt loud. In his sleep, eBay entered a vast stone hall. At its center stood an iron scale. On one side, heavy stones engraved with words. Fact, logic, proof, correct. The scale dipped sharply. On the other side, nothing. Then shadows appeared. People he had corrected, silenced, dismissed. A voice spoke. "You have mastered being right. What have you sacrificed to keep it?" eBay woke trembling. Days later, a stranger arrived in Ife. Mismatched sandals, crooked smile, eyes that watched more than they spoke. The stranger asked questions, uncomfortable ones. Can truth wound? Is correctness always clean? Who is truth for? eBay challenged him publicly, and as always, won. But the crowd did not cheer. They looked weary. Finally, the stranger said, "You win because you argue to end people, not understand them." eBay dismantled the statement calmly. "Flawless." The stranger bowed. "You're right," he said, then added, "and tonight you'll eat alone again." Silence. That night, eBay sat alone. He realized something terrifying. People trusted him with answers, but not with themselves. He was accurate, but unsafe. The stranger returned. "I can't make you wrong," he said, "but I can make you human again." "How?" eBay asked. "Let one argument go unfinished." A woman came to eBay crying. Her story was tangled, illogical, contradictory. Every instinct screamed to correct her,
but Ibe stayed silent. He listened. When she finished, she whispered, "Thank you for not fixing me." Something broke open. Months passed, and something subtle but undeniable shifted in Umuife. People no longer spoke of Ibe as the man who silenced others. They spoke of him as the man who could hold silence. "If you argue with Ibe," they said, "you may still lose, but if you come broken, you will leave lighter." People began visiting him not with debates, but with stories, messy stories, unfinished stories, contradictory stories, and Ibe listened. He listened even when he saw the answer halfway through. He listened even when logic begged to interrupt. He listened when silence felt uncomfortable. And something strange happened. The village grew louder, not with arguments, with honesty. One afternoon, a conflict erupted in the square. Two families stood facing each other, voices raised, faces hard. The old Ibe would have ended this in minutes. Facts were clear. Fault was obvious. The crowd turned instinctively toward him. "Speak," someone said. "Settle this." Ibe stepped forward, then stopped. The silence felt wrong to the people. They waited. Finally, Ibe said quietly, "I can end this argument." Relief rippled through the crowd. "But first," he added, "I want to hear what ending it would cost you." Confusion spread. One man shifted uncomfortably. A woman looked down. Slowly, the shouting faded into confession. Regret surfaced. Fear surfaced. Grief surfaced. By the time the truth emerged, no verdict was needed. The crowd dispersed, not defeated, changed. That day they realized Ibe no longer used truth to dominate space. He used it to make space. At dusk, as the village settled, the stranger returned. Same crooked smile, same mismatched sandals. He stood beside Ibe and said nothing for a long while. Then he asked, "Do you miss it?" Ibe didn't pretend. "Yes," he said honestly. Being right felt powerful. The stranger nodded. "And now?" Ibe looked out at the village. "Now," he said, "being trusted feels heavier." The stranger smiled wider. "That's how you know it matters." He turned to leave, then paused. "You learned to stop finishing people," he said, "but remember, there will come a day when silence is harder than truth." Ibe frowned. "What do you mean?" The stranger only replied, "Wisdom doesn't end tests, it changes them." And he was gone. The test came sooner than Ibe expected. A respected elder stood before the village, accused of wrongdoing. The evidence was clear. The pain was real. The crowd burned for judgment. And this time, silence would protect the wrong person. Every instinct in Ibe screamed, "Speak, expose, correct." He felt the old power return, sharp and eager. But he remembered the scale. Truth on one side, people on the other. Ibe stepped forward and spoke, not to win, not to humiliate, not to end anyone. He spoke carefully, slowly, with mercy where possible, and firmness where necessary. The truth landed. It hurt, but it did not destroy. That day, the village learned something deeper than logic. They learned that wisdom is not softness. It is precision with compassion. Years later, children would ask, "Why do people still listen when Ibe speaks?" And elders would answer, "Because he doesn't argue to be right." They would pause, then add, "He speaks so others can remain whole." Anyone can win an argument.
Very few can protect a soul while telling the truth.